Hello, hello, and good morning. It is Friday, the 13th of September. If you're watching this on a replay, that's okay. I am in beautiful Key West for the Dental Festival, but I've taken some time off to be with you because we have a very important topic today. So if you don't mind, give me a hi, a hello. Let me know you can hear me, you can see me because I am in a hotel room. And so I don't even know if the Wi-Fi is good enough for this live stream to really be working well. So just give me a hi, hello, or whatever in the comments. I am so thrilled to be here with you this morning. We are going to talk about all the myofunctional therapy introductory courses that are out there. Now, if you've seen some of my other previous live streams, you might know that I don't even like the concept of an introductory course, but it's incredibly important that we have this conversation today about these courses because it doesn't seem to matter what I do, what I say, or how loud I am about it. It will continue to be so prevalent in our industry for people to just comment in one of the major groups. Would love to take a myofunctional therapy course or interested in getting into myo. Can somebody send me more information? And then somebody just sends them a link to a course. Well, I'll have you know that as per my current count, there are 17 different introductory courses. I'm only talking to you about 13 today, okay? 13 of the ones that I think you should definitely know about for one reason or another. I am doing this as unbiased as I possibly can. Now, I will tell you that as somebody who teaches a course, it was incredibly important to me why I was teaching the course and what I wanted to do and provide in teaching a course. It's not enough that you just can teach a course and so therefore you do. Like, don't do that, okay? So with some of these courses, I know I'm just throwing by some slides really quick. With some of these courses, there is somewhat of a tone of similarities. What I want you to know is that I'm going to skip over a lot of the similarities because out of the way 100%, all of the courses are going to include some level of exercises. There's one that I point out the amount of exercises that they marketed because I feel like it is incredibly low on the much significantly lower side. But outside of that, everybody's giving you exercises, okay? History and background of the profession, like you're going to get all of that. You're going to get the basic concepts of myofunctional therapy, all the tie-ins, tethered oral tissues. Almost everybody is talking about to some level and extent anatomy, and like bare minimum, you're going to have some form of continuing education and support. So if I don't mention those specifically, it doesn't mean that they don't have them. In fact, the only thing I'm going to highlight is if they have things that I haven't seen anywhere else or things that are like exclusive to that program. So use this as like your comprehensive guide of what's out there. Now, just to touch back for a second, before I dive into these courses, to touch back for a second on the importance of why they're teaching a course, I think that is the shining star upon which you need to guide yourself. Why you want to take a course or why you want to take an additional course. I had the benefit, even though I took multiple introductory courses, I had the benefit of phenomenal mentors. Within the first time of me meeting and, taking the course that I did with Sandra Holtzman and Becky Ellsworth, after that, it was right into Lois Laney's arms. After that, like I'm working in the same office where Paula Fabi comes in. And so I had Paula Fabi to bounce things off of. And I've heard Paula speak so many times. And like I've had that experience. Then it was Kathy Winslow in my ALF experience and really diving into that appliance. And like I was working with Aga and we were working with so many appliances. I had Healthy Start training that I was able to kind of bounce off of. So when it came time for somebody to kind of compile how myo and appliances work, like that's how I got my introduction into speaking because I was working on so many different appliances, working with myo, with people who had removable appliances, with braces, with all sorts of things. So that was important to me once I started teaching to make sure that I was as clear as possible and helping people to understand how they could work with those things, right? But then I had other mentors and I had other phenomenal experiences. And it all has shaped a really dynamic program that I do that I really haven't heard many other people are doing. And we're going to kind of get into that as it goes on and on and on, because you'll see that myofunctional therapy seems to be pretty blanket across the board. And so it's really important that we start to step back and have conversations about why there are so many courses. Is it just because anybody can teach a course that now anybody is teaching a course? Or is it because they have something unique to bring to the table? Let's also get out of the way that myofunctional therapy is not a thing. Okay, it is not a thing. It is not a profession. It is not something that everybody's doing with some standardized process. There is no proven technique. Like, it's not a thing. Now, you can have people who have protocols and who have guides and rules and sort of protocols of their own that they will follow, is what I'm going to say. But anybody telling you that myofunctional therapy is easy, all you got to do is take a course and they're going to be able to guarantee you success, like whatever. No, myofunctional therapy is not easy. You won't be able to guarantee success unless somebody is guiding you in person, which is the only reason that you'll ever see that come out of me for my course, is that I have in-person mentorship. So as a person who would be guiding you in person, I can guarantee that you'll be on the right track. But outside of that, nobody can guarantee you that you're going to have any sort of success in this. So be cautious with how you really move in this industry. Be cautious with motives. Be cautious with the awareness that there are multiple courses. And just because somebody gives you a link, just because somebody tells you that you can have their course, like, you should not ever do a course without talking to everybody first, okay? And as comprehensive as I like to think this is, because I went on everybody's site and I downloaded all the things that they had available as all their information, and I went through resources available, and trust me, there are very few for many of them that really dive deeper into the course. So as comprehensive as I think this is, I think it's still important that you talk to all the instructors, okay? Let's get started. I know, like 8 minutes in. Okay, AOMT. This by far is one of the most recommended courses. I find that when people are sending a link, it's always to this. Samantha Weaver is really at the helm of this, but there are actually 5 different instructors that are listed, people that I respect and love. $2,800 is going to be your buy-in into this. You have the benefit with AOMT of the longest support. They have a weekly coffee clash that you're able to attend and get continuing growth support, case studies, reviews, all sorts of things. So it's like having a wonderful study club every single week. So that's fantastic. It's a hybrid program, so you do get some self-study things that are going to be given to you right off the bat. You register, self-study, but then there's 8 weeks of live instruction. Altogether, they're giving you 59 hours of CE. Nobody else is giving 50 or even close to 50 hours of CE. So 59 hours of CEs, and I mean, you're getting a certificate with 59 hours of dental AGD PACE. That's unheard of. So the AOMT is really coming strong. Some of the things that are highlighted in theirs is that they talk about research. Now, again, myofunctional therapy is not a thing. Research that is out there cannot be applied to what we are doing. And if you need the link to that lecture, please let me know. But anything that's being done in America cannot be linked to any of the research that's out there. So if we're talking about research, I hope and I pray the AOMT is talking about how the research does not apply to what they are teaching, unless they're teaching streamlined, small, intermediate, guided cookie cutter stuff. And I want to believe that they're not. I don't know, but I want to believe that they're not. So unless their research is very much aligned, I hope they're telling you that the research is negligible, because it is. But practice management, which is always fantastic. Some of the other courses you don't get really, you get maybe a touch of business stuff, and then they have another business course that they can sell you afterwards. You don't want that. You want all your business stuff. If you're spending thousands of dollars on an introductory course, hello, let it have all the business stuff, please, and thank you. So practice management, comorbidities. which I think is a very interesting way of them like listing OMD. I'm sorry, OSA and TMD. I just combined those, OSA and TMD, but it is a phenomenal option for those of you who are considering a course. AOMT, highly recommend that you reach out and talk to somebody there and figure out if that's the way you want to go. And if there are other things in there that aren't listed, because I didn't see them, like mini myo or dental sleep medicine or other things that are out there in other courses that have not been listed here. Okay. Myo Mentor. So while AOMT is probably the highest on people who will like answer and respond online, Myo Mentor actually winds up being one that's like the more popular one, if that makes sense. So the International Association of Airway Hygienists, phenomenal organization. If you're not a part of it, you need to join. We have a survey that's been going out asking everybody to really talk about their introductory courses and their process and journey into myofunctional therapy. It's highly illuminating. We will be publishing results soon. We are still aggregating all the data. So if you have not taken that, please, please, please let me know. I would love your feedback. But Myo Mentor is actually the bulk of people who have taken that thing. So it looks like, and that's what the published data is going to say, Myo Mentor is the course most people are learning from. So Myo Mentor is taught by Sarah Hornsby. She's an RDH, phenomenal. I've taken her course years ago. We used to work together and work together really well until I started doing my own course. And then suddenly, I don't know, magically we stopped working together really well. Not on my end, but that's neither here nor there. That is going to be an investment of $2,650. Now for this $2,650, it's a 12-week structured cohort. So you're with certain cohorts, same as the AOMT, you're with certain cohorts, sorry. You can't start whenever you want. You start when the next session is starting, because these 12 weeks are going to be live. It's 28 hours of CEs. I don't believe I was able to confirm whether or not those are actual dental CEs or if it's just 28 hours of education. But I want to say, since I put CE there, that there's 28 hours of continuing education credits given, and that you should be given a certificate, AGD, PACE, or whatever they're issuing for dental, okay? Because it's primarily dental professionals. There's mini myo in that program, habit elimination. Those two I thought stuck out really prominently. There are separate courses for mini myo, separate courses for habit elimination. It's not something that comes in every single course, which is why I'm highlighting it, okay? There's specific protocols that she has for TMD, OSA, and tethered oral tissues that she shares, and she talks about insurance and super bills. That insurance and super bills is a controversial one. I think it's important to talk about too. You will find that if you are going by what the dental boards are starting to rule with, you don't even want to do insurance billing out of the dental office. Like, it's starting to get to a point where it has to be 100% separate. So if the education is leaning towards how you bill as an individual, that is valuable. But again, I don't know, because there's no delineation of such on the website. And, I don't know, I just did the best I can with compiling this information for you, okay? Sandra Holtzman and Becky's Ellisworth, they do Neo Health Services. That is a wonderful starter course. That introductory course is 28 hours virtual, and it is cohorts, okay? That 28 hours isn't spread out over 8 or 12 weeks like the first two courses we talked about. It's spread out over 3 days, okay? So we are going fast and furious. So you're virtual for 3 days. You get a myo manual, which is really the most comprehensive, like thickest, wonderful manual that gives you a structured program with like exercises, and it goes by levels. Here is where you will get a QOM designation. I forgot to mention that the AOMT does offer a certification. It is the AOMTC, or I think it's AOMTC. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong about that, but AOMTC, okay? QOM is their qualified oral facial myologist. You can find them on oralfacialmyologist.com. There are two different prices for this course. You can pay the $2,500 and you just get the course and be part of the course, or I think it's $2,642. And for that extra $142, you get a lip meter. So the lip meter, I will tell you, and sorry Sandra and Becky, because I love them so very much, and I love everybody at Neo Health Services. They're phenomenal people, but the lip meter is not something that is special. Granted, it is special in that they have like a custom product, but it's really like a fish measuring scale. So if you just get one that's for like small fish, don't get something that's for big fish, because like 5 pounds of pressure is really the ideal that you're going for. So anything from 7 to 10 pounds of pressure measurable fish hook, all you do is you take that hook, you put your button around it, and you pull, and you're going to get your lip meter reading. And so I just saved you like $100 some odd. You could probably get that for less than 20, guaranteed less than $30 on Amazon. Easy. Okay. What I like about this is that Sandra Holtzman is a speech language pathologist. Becky Ellisworth is an RDH, and Becky Ellisworth is like a part of some phenomenal history, and is actually still teaching in a community college. And I think that it's fantastic that myofunctional therapy is being introduced out there in Kalamazoo Valley Community College. And it is something that they're getting with their initial education, just an introduction to it, because so many of us had no concept that this was even a thing when we were in school. So Sandra Holtzman, because she's an SLP, she deals with swallowing and speech. It's you get that perspective on things. Now, is that helpful to understand? Yes. Is it practical if you're a dental professional? Not the speech part. It's really not. It's not super practical because you can't implement it. And the thought of you even suggesting that you might work with these things, it's going to get you into hot water. So avoid, okay? Is anything that is going to market you as helping with speech. You do not do that. Just avoid with as much clarity as I can possibly convey. The course is phenomenal. Having that understanding of what speech errors and articulation and how all of that fits in is absolutely wonderful. Just be careful with your marketing is where I was trying to go with that, okay? Joe has a course. I don't even want to try to mess up his last name. I want to say it's Seaford, but I could be very wrong. I'm sorry, Joe. Joe is awesome, absolutely phenomenal guy. I've met him twice at the Myosphere conferences. If you haven't been to a Myosphere conference, you need to go. It is the most wonderful place where SLPs and RDHs are able to unite. But Joe is an RDH and he is actually in Canada. And so you're going to see two prices listed, okay? $3,000 Canadian is his course, which is $2,210 American dollars, okay? So for $2,210, it's a hybrid course. So if you want to save a little money on some of the other courses that were more expensive and maybe fly out to Burlington, Ontario, and do a little in-person while you have your virtual, that is an option. And so it's 30 hours of CEs, it's 30 hours of education, I'm sorry, but there's no CEs that are provided, okay? Some of the highlights of his is that he talks about incorporation into the practice. So incorporation, not as an independent practitioner, but like, how do you work this into your dental practice? How do you work this into your dental hygiene practice? Because from my understanding, in certain parts of Canada, maybe all, I don't know, hygienists can be an independent practitioner. So that's phenomenal. I also love that he has two guest lecturers, Joy Lance, who I'm absolutely obsessed with. She's a really good friend of mine. Joy Lance talks about TMD and a TMD protocol and nurturing the mother-infant dyad. So she comes at it from an IBCLC perspective and where you could really fit in with that important age group. So there are some people, I think it's incredibly important that you define a niche, like where do you want to be in myofunctional therapy? It doesn't have to be where you're seeing everybody across the lifespan. If you just want to work with infants and toddlers, there's a space for that. There's an opportunity in myo for that. Now, are you doing myofunctional therapy with toddlers? I don't believe that Joy is teaching that. I know for a fact she's not teaching that. And that's just not what you're going to be doing, but there is an opportunity for you to help nurture and guide families through education and, really thoughtful guidance. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to get too deep on that. Save that for another time. And Dr. Mandeep Johal, Dr. Mandeep is talking about tethered oral tissues and a protocol for that in orthodontics. So I think it's phenomenal that he has like other people who speak and lecture on topics within the course. Now, I don't know if their lectures are live or if it is like live, like they're there, or live as in like it's a stream while you're in person, or if that's just a part of a recording. If I had to make an assumption, I'm going to assume you're getting recordings of those lectures, but either way, incredibly valuable on top of everything Joe is teaching as how you make myofunctional therapy as practical as possible. Mastering Myo. This is Keisha Nolan. The biggest benefit of this is that Angie Lehman's involved. So I love Angie Lehman. She is absolutely phenomenal. I love so many people that are in this presentation, and I think it's important. There is no competition in any of this. I think there is a person for everybody. No one course is going to suit absolutely everybody. If you've ever reached out to me, or if you haven't yet, if you've ever reached out to me and we've done a free call, my very first thing to you is always, what do you want out of Myo? And if you haven't clearly defined that, I can't guide you to what's best for you, because my course might not be best for you. You might be better off taking AOMT or using Keisha Nolan or going with Joe or doing, like, you could be better off. So I like to give those options. But you have to know what you want out of it, because there's no competition here. We're all working together for the greater good of expanding this field. So Mastering Myo with Keisha Nolan, she's an SLP, and she does have Angie speak in the course. Now, this can be either all virtual. It's 3 days, 33 CEs, so you actually get a continuing education credits from this. It's 3 days if you're virtual, or she does have an in-person date later this fall in Madison, New Jersey. It's $2,700 either way, okay, it doesn't matter. And she does talk about practice management. What's really great is that she has Angie talking about the dental component. So Keisha doesn't try to go out of her realm, and Angie doesn't step out of her realm. Like, everybody is where they're supposed to be. And Angie's a phenomenal resource. I had the pleasure of, like, my very first course just sitting next to Angie, and she wasn't taking the course, she was more observing, but just being able to bounce things off of her. And from like day one, I fell in love, absolutely obsessed with Angie Lehman. She's phenomenal. So being able to get that dental perspective from her is priceless. Okay. Keisha Nolan talks about the practice management I mentioned earlier and habit elimination. So habit elimination is always good. Again, I don't see that in everybody's thing. So sometimes you have to go take a separate course or a separate program for habit elimination. Myo coaches. Okay, this is Kelly and Kim Kung. Kelly's last name is not Kung. I want to say it's Kelly Hale. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry, Kelly, if I am. But Kim Kung, they are in Canada. Okay, this is 8 weeks. They do it live. There's 30 hours of content. So you follow a certain cohort. 30 hours of content, no CEs though. So no continuing education credits, but you do get 30 hours of content. I'm not sure how much of that is live, and that I should have clarified as well too, because sometimes 30 hours of content, eight hours of those might be the fact that you're doing these weekly live meetings. It might be weekly live lectures, and then you have some self-study. Like, I don't know what the differentiation was. It wasn't that clear for me on some of the pages that I went to. Okay. So Myo coaches, 3,300 Canadian dollars, 2,431 US dollars. That is very special because they talk about research and study groups. If you're going to continue to learn, because there's no choice. If you want to be a myofunctional therapist, you have to love CE, because you're going to constantly be seeking it out, and you're going to constantly want to talk to people about it. And being able to talk about how you develop research study groups is absolutely phenomenal. So that's where I think this course really, really shines. Outside of it, If you're Canadian, you need to take a Canadian course because they understand your scope of practice better and they're able to better talk to you about it. So business setup and how you can really get that started is wonderful because they include that there. Working virtually. Not everybody's talking about that. Most of these people aren't mentioning it at all. MyoMentor, that used to be a big component of MyoMentor, where it was the shining star, virtual OMT. I didn't see it mentioned not once on the website. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe I didn't read, some fine print somewhere. Maybe I didn't click on something. I thought I clicked on all the things, but hopefully she's still talking about that as well. But virtual OMT, this is the first time that I saw that pop up, and I was like, good, exceptional. Because not everybody wants to be in person. Some people want the freedom to travel and to do as they may. Temporomandibular joint disorder, mini myo, obstructive sleep apnea, breathing exercises. It seems pretty well rounded. So Myo Coach is a great option as well. And like Kim is such a lovely person. I don't know Kelly personally, but I assume if she's working with Kim, she's equally as lovely. Okay. Airway Health Solutions. I am no longer affiliated with Airway Health Solutions, but Brittany Sierra Murphy is still doing a course through them. She does School of Myo. School of Myo is $29.98 if you're going to do the live aspect of the course, and that goes by certain cohorts. Okay. Those cohorts, you're going to meet on certain days, and you will have CEs, 28 CEs you will get. It is self-study. Virtual lectures that you get, and then you meet. And so it's like a split. What's wonderful about this is that you can do it just self-study without the meetings at a reduced rate. So I think it's $19.98 at just the reduced rate. So you can do 20 hours of self-study CE with 1 year of access. With that caveat, I have to mention the IAOM. So everybody's concerned about certification all the time. The IAOM will accept any 28-hour or more course, as long as you have a certificate of completion that says that you've done 28 hours. They have courses that are listed on their websites. Those are paid. They paid to put their course up there. It's just a space for advertisement. The IAOM will accept any course that gives you 28 or more hours for their certification process. Okay? Any course. You can be a member, you can do their COM process. Okay. So if you do so it's with that caveat that I'm saying, if you do the self-study with the School of Myo, you're not going to be eligible for the IAOM. So even though the course is listed, it's only the 28, and those that give more, that will be a part of that. Okay. So clarify that right away. So that's what you're missing out on if you decide to just do the self-study. And then the self-study only has 1 year of access, whereas like the full course has a lifetime access. I don't know why. All right. I don't know what the Airway Health Solutions treatment planning protocol is, but that's something that's there that I haven't seen anywhere else, probably because nowhere else is Airway Health Solutions, right? Business planning and practice management is involved. And then there's 2 guest lecturers, Kevin Boyd and Dr. Ben Moralia. And so MyoMastery. MyoMastery is Carmen Woodland. Carmen Woodland has a very low profile, and I want her profile to be so much bigger because she really does have a nail and her fingertip on what business is involved in this. So she really comes hard at the fact that she has an MBA and she is very attuned to business. If you've ever gone to visit her website, if you look at her social media, she is very well planned. She is a wonderful case study in how you should do business when you're doing Myo. I have a lot of respect for Carmen Woodland. So MyoMastery, I put the asterisk by the 2,800 because you could spend more. So she's got a tiered level to her services. So 2,800 bare minimum, 36 hours of content, all virtual. I didn't see anywhere whether or not you get the CEs. So if it's important for you to have CEs, I don't know that you'll get that. But 36 hours of completion certificate will make you eligible for the IAOM. I just really have to clarify that because so many people are confused. If it's not listed there, like I can't take it, I can't become certified. You can absolutely take it, and they need to be more clear on that. It's virtual, all virtual, but there is monthly Q&As, and it doesn't look like there's any timeline to that, which is fantastic because then you're getting continual support. So it's not as wonderful as like the weekly AOMT support, but it's pretty good if you've got a busy life and you probably weren't going to make it to all the weekly coffee clashes, but you can make it to a monthly Q&A, then yay. And the Q&A seems to be recorded, and so you could always go back and like see what you missed out on. And she does offer private coaching sessions. So I think that's phenomenal. That's something that's just personal, one-on-one with you and her, depending on what tier is how many sessions you get of coaching. A bonus implementation course, which I think sounds like she's giving you the deals and the lowdown on business. So that's phenomenal. She has a 7-day money-back guarantee. I haven't seen that anywhere. Okay. 7-day money-back guarantee practically sold me. I was almost like, oh, where do I sign up, right? But the 7-day money back guarantee is absolutely great. The upgrades can kind of get you more and more and more. And so Myo Mastery is a wonderful one to look into. This one, as per the IAH survey that we've had with so far 130 respondents, is probably the least popular course. But again, if you haven't taken the survey, we won't have any sort of real guide on what courses people are taking and what kind of value you're building out of them. So if you haven't taken the survey, please take the survey. So if you've taken Myo Mastery and you really want to give Carbon her props, please do. Okay. Myo University, their foundations course is their introductory course because they have multiple courses. This is all through Airway Circle. That's $26.99. It is 15 weeks, all virtual. Okay, 15 weeks virtual. 60 hours of content. I believe they have cohorts as well. 60 hours of content, but no dental CE at all. So 60 hours is wonderful. It's just like the AOMT with the 59. It's really, really up there, which is wonderful. However, I didn't see how we got to 60. So unless you're getting like, I'm so sorry. Unless you're getting a library of self-study things and you're gaining that much value, and it's not just because you're an Airway Circle member that now you have access to those recordings, I don't see how we come up with the 60 hours of content just based on the syllabus that was presented. But that's what's marketed. So 60 hours of content. I don't know what Renata's treatment protocol is. And so that's marketed as like something different and special. Just like Airway Health Solutions has their own protocol, Renata has her own protocol. Who knows what that is because it's never been marketed and there's nothing freely available to tell us why that's different and or special. 40 exercises. The only reason why I pointed this out is because like, if you're going to put a number on the amount of exercises you're offering, like Airway Health Solutions puts out that there's 50 exercises on Myo, was it 50 or 75? I can't remember, one of the two, on their School of Myo. Now, if you're going to put out a number, I want to hope that you believe that number is high. 40, I could come up with 40 cranial nerve exercises, and I don't even have to like stop to think about it. It's very interesting that they put 40 exercises as it was like a large number because it's not. I've got 85 exercises with no cranial nerve integration stuff, no lymphatic drainage, nothing. I've got 85 exercises, just top of mind right now. So 40 exercises I thought was a little interesting as a marketing tactic because it's not even a prominent number that we're putting out there. Research navigation, which I like the way they wrote that. It's not talking about research and like research for it and like how do you navigate research and study clubs. Talk about how do you navigate research and the levels of research. That I like. What I hope, again, and I'm going to continue to push this out there, what I continue to hope is that people are starting off with Myo's not a thing. none of this research is applicable. The only research that could be applicable is if we had standardization in our programs, if the research was actually going off of what that standardization process was, then it absolutely fits. Otherwise, we have no systematic reviews, there's no meta-analysis, I don't care what it's titled, it's incorrect, that you can reference back to myofunctional therapy. So I really hope that that's what they're talking about when they say research navigation. If that's not what they're talking about, I have it on my YouTube for absolutely free. Go look it up right now. And with that same vigor that I say that myofunctional therapy is not a thing, I still teach myo. I still do myo. Myo still funds my life. It is the only income for my household of 6. And I can tell you that as much as it's not a thing, there's a way to discuss it and a way to talk about it without having to clamor onto research. It's not a thing. And I need us as professionals. We work so hard as dental professionals. And if you are a hygienist, you work so hard for some respect on your name. You are not just a tooth scraper. We did not go through the trauma of dental hygiene school and all of our evidence-based practices. We do practice evidence-based care in dentistry. In myofunctional therapy, we do not. So I don't want that false impression to go out there. So I really hope everybody who lists research in their course, that what they're talking about is that it's not a thing and that you have to look at the research with a critical eye. Otherwise, some people that you send research to are going to look at you sideways, like this is what you're doing because this particular paper references a certain number of exercises that I can just duplicate by handing this exercise sheet set to my patients. I don't need you. And it's like, oh, okay, because that's not what my myofunctional therapy was going to look like anyway. So that's neither here nor there. I'm off on a tangent, but it's an important tangent. What is wonderful and maybe probably a lot or overwhelming is that there are 12 instructors / guest lecturers. So the instructors is a list of 6, and then there's like 6 guest lecturers. And so I'm a little confused as to who teaches what and when, and like how you're able to condense information from so many different perspectives and people into your head all at once. I don't know. It just seems like a lot, but I think for some people that's a great highlight. You might want different perspectives. You might want to hear it multiple different ways and from different people or people within their own niche and lane, because some of those are SLPs, doctors, physicians, like they're talking to a wealth of people. So you're getting a broader perspective. So good. Myo Method, my wonderful friend, Hallie Bulkin. I really love Hallie. I know very controversial. There are people who think that she is against RDHs. Let me tell you from like a lot of intimate conversations that I've had with her, she's not against RDHs. I think we have a great big misunderstanding, but I have to shout her out and mention the Myo Method because again, just like I gave Carmen Woodland her props, Hallie is a business woman. Hallie understands business. If there is to be a course on the business of myo, they need to start the first case studies on Hallie and Carmen and their marketing and how on point a lot of their website content is, like how engaging they are, how they're really working business in a strategic way that is uncomparable. Okay. Her Myo Method course, $14.97. It's all self-study, all virtual. You get 23 hours of content. There are CEs, there's CEUs if you're a speech language pathologist. If you are not, it's just there's no dental CEs. So you only get 23 hours of content, not going to be eligible for the IOM. Okay. Not going to be eligible for the IOM, but she does have a lot of things that I think are very pointed and specific for Myo Method. So for Myo Method, because she's an SLP, she's coming at it from that different approach. And as a feeding therapist, coming at it from that different approach, when she talks about referrals, I think you're going to get a better distinction of when to refer and how to refer and what's in your lane. And I know everybody's going to think that that's ridiculous, but we do have to stay in our lane. And I know that everybody that I know does stay in their lane. Just, I'm sorry for even going there. Okay. Comorbidities. She does talk about TMJ and OSA, and then cognitive versus chronological age. I thought that that was incredibly important. Like, we need to highlight that more. There are people who you're working with where they're not cognitively where they are chronologically. And so you have to address and deal with them differently. So that was a big standout one for me. But this really comes in on the low end of pricing. And if you look at that landing page, please go look up Myo Method. If you look at that landing page, you will see why I say she needs to be a case study on business. She is just absolutely fabulous. Love Hallie. The Institute of Orofacial Myofunctional Therapy. Bet y'all never heard about this. This is talked about probably the least, and I'm not even sure if it's still a thing. This is taught by a dentist. I'm forgetting her name. Her name is not on the top of my head right now, but it's taught by a dentist. It's $27.50, 3 days virtual or in person. If you're in person, it's 3 days that you're like on site in her practice space. I can't remember what I saw there. But it's 28 CEs, which is fantastic because you're eligible for certification through the IOM, and you can do with that what you may. What I thought was really a highlight or special about this was that they go over buteyko breathing and special needs. I want to assume that the AOMT does a little bit of buteyko breathing, but I'm not sure. Somebody can confirm or deny. That would be wonderful. But special needs is not something people talk about enough. There are people who want to niche into working with special needs. They may have particular family, loved ones that they are looking for services for, or they want to be the person to provide services for. They might work in pediatric. I remember working in pediatric. I worked with special needs kids all the time. So special needs isn't just, cognitive disability. Sometimes it is a physical disability. Sometimes it's that chronological versus cognitive age and, just dealing with those types of things. And so special needs, I think, is not highlighted enough. And if that's something that you're looking for, this might be a course to really, really look into. Because if they're not talking about it in the course that somebody just randomly types up on a Facebook group, you're going to miss out. And I don't know where you're going to get that information because it's not just readily available. Okay. Discover the Biotherapy Puzzle. This is Pat Pine. Pat Pine is an RDH with a $2,800 course that is very well marketed as an IOM course. It's a 4-day intro course, either in person in certain locations and virtual. So 4 days, 30 hours of CE, eligible for IOM membership and certification, eligible to go through that process. Okay. She talks about functional breathing, practice management, functional appliances. First time I'm getting somebody marketing that they talk about appliances. Hallelujah. If you're working with an orthodontist or an orthodontic practice, or you're working with an airway dentist and you want to know how you incorporate those things, hello, we need the marketing to really have in there that they're telling you how to work with appliances. Because if they don't say it, don't assume it. You're not going to get that from every myofunctional therapy course. And if you have $3,000 to just throw away, then take whatever course. But if you want something specific, you're going to have to dive into what's available. So functional appliances, I think, is the real highlight of this. She talks about case studies, which I think is really important. So she has designated, her syllabus is very specific. I love it. She has designated like lectures that are about case studies, like following certain cases. And so I think that that's really important too. Okay. Oh, we're at the end. Myo Pathway. So Myo Pathway is my course. Okay. It's $2,000 self-study without mentorship. $3,500. Yes, I know it's on the higher end, but it comes with 16 hours of live mentorship. So live mentorship, meaning I come to you and you are actually going to be doing hands-on therapy. So whether it's, you just have family or loved ones, or you have actual patients lined up and you're ready to go and you want real-time feedback on what you're doing, what you might have missed, how you can improve. Hello. 16 hours of that. Didn't see that anywhere else. Like, nobody else is doing live mentorship, and certainly not included in the price of the course. There are people who offer mentorship at a separate fee, and certainly not coming to you mentorship. That's, you can come and shadow them. But for your $3,500, You could do 16 hours of shadowing me. I'll tell you, I do myofunctional therapy and I've done it every type of way. So I do telehealth, I do mobile therapy. So I go to people's homes. You can get that taste of the experience. You'd be able to follow me. PTs and OTs have followed me already doing that type of thing. Like everybody thinks it's really cool, but I do have a home office too. Sometimes people come there so you can see it live. Like we'll book a full day of people coming in and just being in my office if that's what you want to see. But shadowing is an option. 16 hours of that. And that's not you paying separately. Like my team will book your flight, we'll book your stay, we'll make sure that you're comfortable. My office is in my home, so you're gonna be fed. It's gonna be great. But yeah, so $3,500, that's all in. Okay, you're not spending another dime as far as your mentorship or shadowing is concerned. 28 hours of self-study content, so 26 hours really. But by the time you count all of the things that kind of go over, like I just threw in, so let me just get to the next part first. 6 months of live weekly viewing Q&As. So I go live every week and we're on a special Zoom link. It is not a public link. It is a special Zoom link and you're able to ask questions. And when you have things that I have other places, guess what I do? I pull it into my program. So the last live that we had live Q&A, somebody asked about habit elimination, like, hey, is habit elimination in the program? And I said, you know what? I really don't talk about it, but it is in my Myostages course. I have a whole lecture about it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to throw it in to the Myopathway course. So I've added on habit elimination. And like different things get added on at different parts. Like I want to see telehealth. All right, great. This is the live telehealth. Like I'm adding it in. So we just added in. So if there's anything you've wanted to learn that you haven't seen there, I pull it in. Like I am very amenable to doing that type of thing. Here are the special talking points for my course. Dental sleep medicine, appliances. I have 85 exercises just flat off the bat. So if like we're marketing numbers, I haven't seen a number that's higher than 85. 85 flat off the bat. We talk about cranial nerve integration, modalities like energy work, breath work, lymphatic drainage, primitive reflexes, mini myo, research, and how it's not a thing because you need that aspect of things. Cosmetic cases, which I haven't seen anybody else talking about. You can work with people just on facial aesthetics alone. And there's a whole hour on how to do it with 2 case studies where I did it. Special needs, also case studies where I did it. Genetic considerations and so forth, how you work with special needs. Telehealth, scope of practice, because scope of practice is the biggest thing. If they're not talking scope of practice, they need not talk to you at all. And dental office integration, I think it is a phenomenal course. I really don't think there's anything like it. And when I came out with a course, I said, if I'm going to go solo and come out with my own course, it better be the best course absolutely available. Otherwise, there's no point in me doing it because there's already enough stuff out there with a whole lot of fluff. We need to be top notch because I only believe in practicing in excellence. If we're not executing in excellence, you should not execute at all. Okay. Myopathway. With that said, oh my gosh, it messed up my little Barney thing. I think you learned something very important today. I'm so sad that Barney's messed up. It was a really cute GIF where, you know, Barney was telling Bebop, I think you've learned something very important today. So I think you guys have learned something very important today. There are way too many courses. Okay. We just went over 13 courses, 13 introductory courses, but you've learned that they're all very different. Everybody brings something different to the table. I'm not for everybody, you know, whether it be Joe may not be for everybody, or I don't know, Hallie might not be for everybody. Like, we're not for everybody, but the people who you resonate with, I implore you to connect with them on a deeper level. I'm always here and available to connect with. I give you guys my link all the time to book a call and so forth, and I will throw that up there again. I have free calls with people all the time. Don't think that if you get on a call, it's a sales call. It's not a sales call. I hardly, if ever, am pushing anything. I'm more often than not trying to tell you, where you need to go, like what you need to look into, what more research you have to do, where you might find your passion in this. And then if you want to reach out again about the course, reach out about the course, but book a call. It doesn't cost you anything. And I enjoy helping and being helpful. So with that, I'm going to rejoin the dental festival because I need to be judging Dentistry's Got Talent. But it has been absolutely phenomenal being with you this morning. And I am wishing you all the very best day. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I will be back later and I will definitely address them all. Bye, guys.